All right. We're live doing using the webcam, and welcome in. It's Jay with 1791 Actual. Thanks for popping in here. We're just going to do kind of a um, quick look at something. I'm a reloader, and you know, not all reloaders reload for just long range precision and all that kind of stuff. And some of us reload because we've decided that we actually can save some money. May not save a whole lot of money, but at the very least, you're going to shoot more. And if you really break it down hard, even on 9 millimeter, you're going to save money because one of the components that goes into factory manufactured ammunition is the price of the case. And if you're a hand loader at home, if you buy cases, you're not going to save any money. If you collect brass at the range every time you go shooting, like I do, I get a little bit of brass, and it's all 9 millimeters. I've got a couple of thousand pieces of brass, but if you clean it, run it through your. I use corncob media in a uh, Lyman vibratory tumbler, and it comes out nice and clean. Not perfectly shiny like brand new, but it doesn't need to be. Uh, there's guys that'll tell you that it's got to be as shiny as a new penny, but no, it doesn't. It works perfectly well, nice and smooth, clean. But one of the things you got to do is after you pop the primers out, you got to clean that primer pocket. I mean, there's guys that deprime first and then clean it, and then the pocket comes out nice and clean. Well, that's nice for them. Uh, However, I don't like putting dirty brass, especially range brass that has been laying in the mud or whatever for Lord knows how long. I'm not going to put that in my nice decapping and sizing die. So, solution is clean it with the primer in, pop the primer out, and then do case prep. Now, you can spend a couple of $100 or more on the Hornady or RBS or Lyman or whoever, Lee, case prep center, where you've got a little brush and you clean the primer pocket. And then you've got one of these. It's called a chamfer tool, and it's turning on this little shaft, and you touch that on there, and it puts a chamfer on the inside edge, makes it so that your crimp works better. And then you also do a little debur. This one goes to the outside and cleans any potential burrs off the outside of the piece of brass. And you got a nice little piece of brass ready to go. But like I say, you're going to spend a couple of $100 for one of those case prep centers. Or you can get your little RCBS handle and these individual heads, and you can sit there and you can do that. Put your chamfer in. Put your chamfer in. Well, if you got arthritis like I do, and yeah, manual, yeah, not so good. By the time you get through, a couple of thousand pieces of brass, your hands aren't going to be a happy camper. So, don't want to spend the money. Don't want to use the man tool. What do? You do this. You go on Marketplace, get you an old used $5 or $15 corded variable speed electric drill. Put it on the corner of your bench. I've got mine set up. I've got one of these inline fabrication mounting plates, just like I have for my press, and I mounted a vise to it. So, and it's an adjustable vise. I can spin this around whatever direction I want it to go. If I wanted to work this way, if I wanted to work this way, I could. Uh, but I've got it set up so that I like to work right there, nice angle. Then get you a piece of Velcro and some Gorilla Glue. You glue one end of the Velcro here. You want the furry side out here. You glue that onto there, wrap it, make sure it's long enough that you can wrap around and get a good bite to hold. So that tug on it just a little bit. Press it down real well. And there's my pocket cleaning brush. Yeah, I always like to lock that swivel down so it doesn't try to run away from me. Look how nice and shiny. I already had this, but this is a Harbor Freight vise that I got. I think it was maybe $30, $15. I already had the Thinline Fabrication top plate. You don't have to have that. You could mount the vise straight to the corner of your bench, or you could use a drill press, a flat drill press vise. Those aren't going to slide around. And we got nice clean pockets. In my case, like I said, I already had this. So all I did, I spent $15 for this. I had already bought the little manual brushes. So what next step is, shut it off. And I actually marked on here which way this turns to open and close the jaw. And so next thing we're going to do, we're going to run our chamfer bit in there. And again, little tug to get my speed. And I'm not going to do a bunch of these because I've got to finish going through there. But see that nice little shiny chamfer ring in there? That one you can see needs chamfer. See that? So, well, the next step is loosen that, and you put the deburring bit in. Same procedure. Set your speed. Grab your piece of brass. There it is. That little piece of brass, you can see a nice little ring around the outside where it deburred. So there it is. There you have it, and there you are. Redneck Case Prep Center. When I was a kid, my dad was always coming up with. We weren't poor. We were far from poor. Dad was an electrician. He skilled tradesman, journeyman, union electrician. Always had work. Company that he worked for treated him really well. But my dad grew up in the Depression. The man knew you knew how to collect and gather things that you might someday need. He was always coming up with ways to do things that didn't involve spending a whole lot of money. So You might say I learned at an early age how to do things that you need to do, make a difference, and not break the bank. Right. So there you are, guys. Thanks for stopping in, y'all. Jay, 1791 Axle. We got something new coming down the pipe. I'm doing some document review. Soon to be 1791 Axle LLC. We're going to be making 3D printed items for the reloading bench for reloaders. And hopefully we'll be getting some. We've already got a lot of products out there that just kind of selling at it that I decided to make a full-time business. And hope y'all check me out. Anyway, thanks again. As always, God bless and see you on the other side.